Hi, everybody. Welcome to the cards. Everybody has. I'm echoing, Eric.
Huh?
I'm echoing.
Are you?
I am.
Well,
It's coming through okay for you? Okay.
yeah.
All right. Start that again. Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's in the Cards. Hope everybody had a wonderful, fabulous week. For right now, the temps have. It was actually felt like a spring day today. Till it gets cold again by Friday. The back and forth has a lot of people sick, so hope you're staying healthy. Um, I want to welcome everybody, and for those joining me for the first time tonight, welcome. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can get me on Facebook. It's in the cards, has its own page, and on Tarot by Misha on Facebook, and my website, tarotbymisha.com. This evening, I have a returning fabulous guest. Reverend Cindy Lee is back. For those that missed her the first time and have not caught up on the archives to watch last month when she was on, I believe it was, or November, let me give you a little bit of a background on her. At age 3, I don't remember what I was doing, but that's Cindy Lee's first memory of her clairaudience and clairvoyance. She can trace the abilities through the family back for 6 generations on her maternal side and 4 generations on her paternal side. She is immersed in the Native American side of her family, Métis traditions. I believe I pronounced that properly. Is her background. And this evening, we are going to be talking about the spirit world and the paranormal and all of that fun stuff gardening things. The last time she was on, she was speaking about her class. Reverend Rosalee, welcome.
Thank you, Misha. I am of the Métis tradition.
Yes.
And do I have an echo?
Try it now.
You okay now?
I think so.
Okay.
What I think we should talk about tonight is to carry on from our conversation when you and I were on the phone. What is an entity that attaches to you versus a demonic possession? And how does that compare to someone who has not crossed over into the light?
Yes, there's a difference, as you were saying. I really, and we were discussing this as well, which we want to get into. As far as a lot of spirits, when people are investigating and they get nasty spirit encounters, a lot of times it's the person was a jerk in real life, and they're still jerky.
Yes.
Not everything that comes across to us as being nasty is demonic.
Right. The demonic forces, in my opinion, I'm sure a demonologist may have a different opinion, would be those entities that have no soul, no compassion, no comprehension of the discontent that they're providing, or maybe they even enjoy providing the discontent. And then I think that is what makes a truly evil being. I don't find most of the entities we see attached to people are demonic. They are Uncle Fred, who may have been an abusive alcoholic, and now he's on the other side, but he didn't cross over into the light. So he didn't learn the lesson of compassion yet. He's still cranky Uncle Fred. He still thinks that his way's the right way, your way's the wrong way, and he's the one who's going to be rattling the doors because you're not doing things his way.
Right. Now, as far as, and I'll stick with the same example because, you're mentioning attachments. Why would a spirit attach themselves to you? For instance, if they were an alcoholic in real life, they didn't cross over, or are they craving alcohol? And
yes,
somebody happens to be a drinker, so they're going to have an alcoholic spirit attached to them?
That's very, very possible. Another reason for attachment is not only do the entities that used drugs and alcohol or food, once they attach to you, if you had never had the craving for alcohol and then all of a sudden develop one, you might look at an attachment. Now, you can't blame it on an attachment if it's free will, but there is a possibility. The other reason an entity might attach to you is because they are drawn to you and your light. And an entity has to have a life force to survive. So your ectoplasm that they attach to provides them enough life force to materialize, to show who they are to you or other people. You find this especially in the work of mediumship. And when you have someone doing a seance, if it is a good and true medium, when that medium goes into trance, you will see a transfiguration across their face. Their features transform into the entity that is speaking through them.
You get a voice change as well, or not always?
Yes. Not always, but sometimes yes. When I channel one of my doctors of philosophies, my throat hurts so bad afterward because he has more of a guttural sound to his voice, and it is, I swear 4 or 5 octaves lower than mine. I just don't have a bass. But when I channel him, I have been told that not only does my facial features change, but so does my upper torso. It looks like it actually enlarges. I do know that sometimes when I'm trying to channel him, when he's getting situated, it's like he has to raise my arms and to fit. Now, some people would say, well, aren't you afraid he'll take over your body and possess you? Well, no, because he is my spiritual mentor. There's no reason for him to take over my body because excuse me, I allow him to teach through me, and he is happy to be on that side and allow me to do my work here. It is not comfortable for him to bring his vibration down to my level and keep my vibration, my body's vibration up so that he can maintain. You know, this is comfortable and doable for maybe 30 minutes, an hour at the most. With a spirit attachment, they don't speak through you. They siphon off your energy or your life force, which makes you tired. So if you've been, and we touched on this the last time I visited, the fact that when you go to a funeral home, you can tell that energy is so much different than if you go to a bar where everything's lively and the music's going and the vibrations are, you know, very party. Let's party hard. Think of trying to put the sober or the somberness of the funeral home into the bar. They don't match. There's no way that those two energies can coexist in the same place. Yes, you have sad people at the bar, but you don't have that quiet somberness at the bar. You've got the loud music, the loud voices, you've got the dancing, the hoopla. The funeral home, everything's quiet, you talk in hushed tones. I don't know why. I think it's because, you know, you're trying not to disturb the person in the casket, but that could just be me. Don't disturb the dead. So there are different types of entities that when, say, a paranormal investigator would go to a haunted home, that they might find. You will find guides who usually vacate the area that is being haunted. I mean, your EVP meters will pick up an entity such as your guide, but when you're focused on a haunting, the guide will respect that and pull back and allow what I call the lost or the misplaced entity to make contact. And it's always fun for me, and I'm sure for you too, when you go along as the psychic on an investigation, and you walk into a room and you can feel the presence, and that meter takes off and starts buzzing and the lights blink. It's just a rush to know that, oh, I'm not crazy. I feel it. This proves it.
Yes.
And those entities are the ones that have not crossed over to the light. They haven't gone into the space of love and of compassion. They are still, they may have a fear of crossing over. They may have had a very religious life where their organized religion told them they were going to hell, they were not worthy, you're going to go to purgatory for whatever reason. And instead of going to the light and accepting that judgment, which that would be very fearful, that would be very scary, they stay and they linger on the earth plane. You also have the entities that are tied to different spots due to strong emotion. That would be possibly the massacres, the different war zones. Like Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, that would be a very, unless you've got a psychic or someone who's gone in and cleaned up that area, those are very haunted because of the devastation, the physical devastation, the emotional devastation, knowing that possibly you had just killed your brother, cousin, father, or that it was your cousin, brother, father that just shot you or maimed you. And you knew that there was no way that you could survive with your leg, and somebody was getting ready to saw it off, literally. Lots of really strong emotion to help tie them to the earth plane. Right. Then you also go into what I call imprint. Now this is other people may have other titles for this action of spirit, but it's when a event happens in time and the emotion was so strong, whether it was a loving emotion or a fearful emotion, it was a very strong emotion. And so maybe you're sitting at your kitchen table and every morning you see this lovely woman in her robes coming down the stairs, and she goes over to the stove and she goes to the ice box, which isn't there anymore because it's a cabinet, But she goes through the same routine, and she never sees you, she never waves at you, she never acknowledges you. And sometimes this is, a 30-second segment you see, sometimes, it's longer. But usually it has to do with a very strong emotion that has placed that ritualistic imprint in the home.
Right.
I have seen the EVP monitors pick up the imprint, but I've never, and this is my experience, someone else may have a different experience, but I've never experienced seeing an imprint acknowledge the people, the investigators. I've never seen them acknowledge me. Why are you here? It's nothing. She's still humming her tune and she's still doing her daily chores, or, if it's a gentleman, whatever. Do we have guests that have questions?
We do. We have a question in the chat room. And the person's saying that they keep seeing a figure a few days before a family member dies. You can't see the face. It has hair in front of it. It appears for about a minute, and then it disappears, and they're wondering what it is they're seeing.
I would say that it's not necessarily what we would refer to as the Grim Reaper at Halloween time, but it would be an entity that is there to help the crossing, to make sure the person actually goes into the light. There may be a fear that the person has, and this entity is aware of it. There are the spirit of death, for example, is to be with the person. Its job is to be with the person who is dying, who's getting ready to transition out of the body and move to the next realm. This entity could be a spirit of death that is there to make sure that the spirit of the to be deceased actually leaves the body and transfers to the next higher plane. And he is there, or she is there, to assist this, because she knows that there's a fear of that death somewhere in the soon-to-be deceased mind. Does that make sense to you? Did I explain that properly?
Yes, made sense to me. Let's see if there's any continuing questions with that. What I found interesting with the question is that it's appearing the same time to them.
Pardon? I'm in.
It's happening a couple days beforehand, only lasting about a minute, and they're appearing in the same form without being able to see the face.
Right.
It's covered with the hair in front of the face. Could that just be maybe, the way the person is being told?
Right. That would be an easy way for her to, or him, to see the person, the entity, by keeping his appearance or her appearance consistent. The person asking the question, with that consistency, will know, I am probably the spirit of death, and I've come to assist the loved one to the next realm. If there is no fear, and the person asking the question can send love, if it happens fast enough that they can think of this to send love, there may be communication so that they will know what's getting ready to happen.
Right, okay. Could it possibly be their own spirit guide, but staying hidden so that they're not actually seeing them?
I would say no. Most of the spirit guides that I have worked with are very willing to show themselves to the person they are to guide. The spirit of death, when I have met him, and I refer to him as a him because I feel a very masculine presence when I see the spirit of death, there is very seldom a facial feature. It's always like a hood with nothing in where the face should be. That is a void.
Right.
Sometimes they are in a gown, stereotypical.
Right. Okay.
Right. When my girls, I guess they were in about the 5th or 6th grade, we came home from school one day, and both girls saw what they said was the Grimm Reaper sitting in our porch swing with iced tea. Okay. But for both girls to see the same thing.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was there. Evidently, he was taking a load off, no one died, and he didn't hang around.
Right. Well, we got a bigger description typed in the chat room about it, and when it appears as if it's a regular person, and they're wearing a plaid shirt and jeans, and brown hair is covering the face.
Okay.
So they're coming through, dressed like you and I would dress.
Right. So it would be a modern form of dress and not like a Victorian style.
Yeah, plaid shirt and jeans.
Plaid shirt and jeans.
The person's a man in a plaid shirt and jeans. So could it be it's the same person, and it's, always when somebody is passing, could it be a past relative?
Yes, I would come very close to feeling very confident that it is a deceased relative. The fact that the face is covered, I would say is his way of hiding his identity. Is his hair more like Cousin It, or does he have like a full beard and his hair and his bangs?
And I don't know, it just says brown hair covering the face. So I don't know if it's, longer hair coming down, or if it's, all facial hair and whiskers with it. Maybe they will reply with that information.
I would say at that point in time, with the modern clothes, that we're looking at an ancestor, somebody that was in the family or a very dear friend, and they come to help guide.
It's longer hair.
Right.
It's longer hair, so none of the facial hair then.
Okay. If they could, if there was a possibility to go through old photos, they might find the person in one of the photos.
Right.
Maybe the hairstyle, maybe the actual clothes.
For some reason, I keep getting farmer. I don't know if where they're located at, or if anybody in the family was a farmer, had a farm.
Right.
That just was told to me. Somebody that was doing farm work on a farm. Can't see his face to know whether or not it's a beard or not. So, just the longer hair. So try going through photos.
I would. And I think that, they might be surprised at the impressions that they receive by looking at the older photos.
Right. Are they on the thinner side? If they can answer that, because I'm getting a slender person as opposed to, broader. And husky. It's the way the grandfather used to dress. Okay, there you go. Very good possibility then that's who it is. And that's his way of preparing you, especially if it's a death that's sudden and out of the blue and unexpected, because it's, not somebody that's been ill.
Right.
With what we were talking about with the spirits and the attachments and things like that, I want to go back to the attachments. How does one know, especially with so many, going out there doing paranormal investigating now, how does one know whether or not they have an attachment?
If they have a strong reader on their team, that reader should be able to tell whether or not they have any new attachment. Some readers will use the pendulum to check, do you have any new attachments or what? Another way is to actually scan the aura, and you can sometimes feel where a new presence is. Again, you would need a sensitive to be able to do that. I personally cannot do it myself, so I have to have somebody else do it for me as I do them. And all it takes is for you to vibrate at a mellow, lower than the entity that attaches to you. If they vibrate lower than you, they cannot attach to you. But if they're just a hair above you, then they can. Now, how would somebody, say like Uncle Fred, attach to someone who, meditates and they spend all, being enlightened? If you let your guard down and you become fearful or angry, that lowers your vibration, and that's when they get their foothold. Does this happen a lot? Not really. It's just the probability of that it can happen. On the haunted trails, when you actually go, not at Halloween time on the haunted trails, but on a haunted tour, I noticed that the ones that are most likely to walk away with an attachment are those who have a fear of ghost. And of course, it's that fear and the unknown that draws them to the tour. And a lot of time they're saying, well, I don't believe. But yet they've got that minute fear, and that lowers their vibration enough that they can, accept an attachment. Right. A lot of times I will, after the tour, I will go ahead and just clean everybody up, especially if I saw one, attach, and nobody's the wiser. Right. I know. The Catholic Church would want to do the hoopla over it, but you don't need a whole lot of hoopla to do basically an exorcism. You don't need to do the ceremony. You work with your guides, you work with the other side. There are angels and helpers over there that this is their job, to come and, help clean you up when you ask. Right. But if you notice that after you've gone partying or gone to the funeral home, gone on a ghost tour, that you have a kind of a different personality, or you're developing a different habit, you might want to get in touch with your spiritual advisor or your psychic and ask if she would, spruce up your energy and possibly clean away this. Now, if she wants to charge you $500 to do it, please come see me. I will do it for the charge of a reading. I don't know how much you charge for an energy spruce up, but if you're in my chat room at provenpsychics.com, I will do it while you're online with me. It takes about 3 minutes. If you are, or if one is really attached, I think the longest it's ever taken me has been about 10. So, if you have a fear of being possessed or attached, you need to see your spiritual advisor so that he or she can help you. But make sure it's a trusted. Don't go to just anybody and say, "Oh, I think I've been attacked." Well, they might decide to siphon your wallet, and you don't want that. Because while there are reputable spiritual advisors, there are also the non-reputable ones, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. I want to get onto... Okay, we have a question in the chat room. Wondering how one makes contact with your own spirit guide. And I believe that says, where can I find a ghost box? Okay, I thought you were missing the O for book. Two separate questions. There's places to get the ghost box. They're very simple, actually, to make if you know how to do the ghost box. The one that I have happens to be the they call it from Radio Shack. They call it the hack box. Is it the Shack box?
Right. That's what I have.
Yeah, I love it. It's very small, and what you have to do is, I had somebody do it for me, undo the radio, and there's one of the wires that you have to clip and slice. And then you just put it back together because you want the radio box to be able to scan the channels continuously. Right. But they do those apps and things too.
I think there's a YouTube on how to make your own shack box.
Yes, there is.
That's what I have when I play around with them. And if you don't know what a shack box is, it is a transistor radio that you get from Radio Shack and Hack.
And they know it's what it's being used for. That they're well aware of it.
And what was the other part of that question?
The other part of the question is how one makes contact with their spirit guide. I'm going to leave that one to you because actually I know I am, but there's lots of different beliefs out there as well. So, to elaborate on that, how would one know they're in contact with their spirit guide, and maybe they're developing mediumship abilities and it's a family member coming through.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you handle that one.
Thank you. The way that I would suggest you begin to get in touch with your spirit guide is to use one of the guided meditations. Maybe you're taking a walk down a dark hallway and you're seeing numbers on the floor. You get to number 1. You look up, there's a door there. You take the key off the door jamb. You unlock the door. Make sure you put the key back on the door jamb so you can use it next time. You open the door. You take 3 steps down, and maybe you're in an office, or you're in somebody's living room, or maybe you're in the meadow. everybody will see something different at that point. And then while you're, maybe sitting at a picnic table, you have a woman walk up to you or a man walk up to you, and they introduce themselves to you as, I'm Dr. Lee, or I am your, I guide you in philosophy. I help you with your physical well-being. When you have that nagging little suspicion that you might need to rest a little more, that's me. That is one way to get in touch with your guides. My belief is that you have 5 main guides that you work with on a daily basis.
5, really?
5. You have your health issues daily. I mean, you've got somebody there to monitor your body system to let you know whether or not something is out of balance. You've got your philosophy, because you have your daily belief on what you need to do. Do you need to do prayer in the morning? Do you need to do prayer at night? Do you need to meditate? That it all falls under the area of philosophy. You have a joy guide, and this guide may appear like a child to you, but is anything but a child. There is more wisdom in this little being's little finger than we have giggles in our full-grown bodies. She or he is usually the one that helps inspire you to do what you like to do. If you're an artist, they'll be the one to inspire you to be creative. They're the ones that make you laugh all the time. Mine is a little being, a Native American little person, and she thinks life is funny. So oftentimes I will find myself laughing at a very inappropriate time because she thinks life is funny. You have your protector, your guardian, and you have your master teacher. Your master teacher may not be in constant communication with you like the other 4, but he's there to help give you the information you need that maybe one of the other guides was not able to provide for you. Then you have the outer band. This is the 200 gazillion guides that said, Misha, when you get to Earth, I'm going to help you. All you have to do is call on me. Well, Misha forgot she had these 200 gazillion guides, and so they've been sitting in the sidelines, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for her to say, hey, I need help on this project, or hey, help me figure out how to, rework, the vacuum cleaner since, whatever. We have all these spirit entities and guides and helpers that are there for us, that want to help us, and somewhere along the line, we forgot that they were there wanting to be of help. So here we are struggling through our daily activities when the spirits on the other side are going, ask me, I can make it easy for you. Again, getting back to how do you contact them, there are a lot of, you need to slow down your brain waves just to the space just before you go to sleep. So that's like at a 7 hertz on a theta scale. I have that on provenpsychics.com. It's under the meditation tab. It's free to listen to. Use stereo headphones. Sit up when you listen to it. It only takes your brain to a 7 hertz brainwave. There's no guided words. It is only the binaural beat and background sounds like, rain, thunder, birds. I find it very helpful when I'm trying to find a solution, especially when I'm trying to design my web or redesign my website. I can listen to that, and it puts me into that creative space that I'm not normally. So if you can listen to that and see yourself walking to your guide's home, to his cave, whatever, that way you know that when he shows up there or she shows up there, that's him.
Mm-hmm. Ask for them to make
right.
present.
And it's going to be very much like a dream. You're not going to be able to, well, I'm not going to say you can't. I cannot. I'm sure some people it's like a 3D where you can actually feel them touch you, but mine's more like a dream, in dream state.
Right.
And so I know they're there. I hear them speak. I don't necessarily see them move their mouth, but I know that they're speaking to me. And they say the things that you would not normally say. For instance, if you're in a meditative state and you're talking to your deceased grandmother and she says, "Well, I didn't know you knew how to cook." If that's something she would say, or if the timing for her to say that is off, that's kind of how you know things are flowing the correct way. I had a spiritual development class Monday night, and a little gal asked me, well, I think I'm meditating wrong, because when I go to that door, I'm walking down, like, the Star Wars words. She goes, I'm walking down, I'm not going up. And I said, that's called going within. And that's where your answers are that you're seeking. And there's no right way or wrong way. There's preconceived ideas that sometimes we have to release.
Yes. Different things that were embedded in us, growing up even.
Mm-hmm.
They have to just be opened and not have, predetermined beliefs of, it's got to be a certain way.
Right.
And we're running out of time. I knew this was going to happen, which is why I'm having you back in 2 weeks. We did not get to discuss some of the other things that
reincarnation.
Yeah.
You wanted to do reincarnation too? Okay.
Reincarnation and past lives, we will have to hold off on all of that.
Okay.
Return visit in 2 weeks.
Yes. Fantastic. I look forward to it.
And touch on things, why some people attempt to get mediumship readings and nobody comes through. Nobody.
Oh, that's a really good one. Yes.
But
I'm making notes.
We can't do that in 2 minutes. So everybody's going to have to stay tuned and return.
Yes.
So find that out. In the meantime, how can everybody get a hold of you?
I am at provenpsychics.com under the name of Cindy Lee. Now you'll notice that I'm only available Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays mornings. The rest of the time I'm doing weddings, and that part of my business is really booming. You can email me through Facebook and set up a private reading at another time, if that would be good for you. And I accept PayPal. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
So if you don't ask for me for a reading, at least ask for Misha.
In less than a minute, can you elaborate on the weddings I got asked in the chat room?
Oh, ReverendCindyLee.com. I do all types of weddings, whether it's a traditional or a theme. Do you want a fairy godmother? I'm your gal. I do show up in costume for those that want me to. Otherwise, I show up in robes.
Okay. Fun. With that, we have to call it an evening. And you can get a hold of me at terrorbymisha.com and on Facebook. Hope everybody has a fantastic week. Reverend Cindy Lee, thanks so much for joining me and for coming back in 2 weeks. Take care. See you all next Wednesday. Good night.
Good night.